According to an XRP chart expert, a vertical breakout for XRP in particular is imminent. And this is happening at a time when, to be honest, there is a lot of chop in the cryptocurrency market overall and a lot of sideways price activity. While certain coins have been splitting apart, XRP has increased by, I believe, 8% over the past week, thus outperforming several coins. Price activity is primarily sideways if you only look at the market as a whole. When this happens, there are a lot of expectations. Here I'll highlight some significant changes, including a news story that is especially pertinent. The cryptocurrency market will undoubtedly be impacted by that. We'll see, but this most recent video will feature me. Simply put, a lot is happening. I'll tell you now that I still see in a broad sense what I was pointing out yesterday from the chart analysts I follow, which is that there are a few analysts who do that in the near term. Yes, we could retreat, but nearly all of them continue to maintain that the charts are still valid even in that case. That does not preclude Bitcoin from making a final upward parabola. As you may imagine, this does not imply that we will not witness an alternate season. This does not preclude a face-melting rally to the upside for XRP. It would be strange. Indeed, those are the kinds of events that signal the peak of each and every cryptocurrency market cycle, so it would be surprising if we didn't see them. It isn't going to happen for the first time in history. I simply don't believe that argument. So it would be strange to me if we didn't see, to be honest, a push for XRP that dwarfs what happened in November of last year. This is because XRP typically behaves in a way that gives it a significant upward push, which is what happened in November of last year after it had underperformed for years and years due to the SEC's attack. However, you have that. After that, you typically observe an accumulating period. Yes, we have that. Okay? After that, there is a last surge, which is usually far more significant than the initial leg up. The price of XRP is 2.61. 479 for Bitcoin. It's a sea of crimson, as you can see, but not very deep. Most of the coins in the top 50 here have dropped a few percentage points in the past day. However, despite that, as I indicated, XRP has increased by more than 8% over the past 7 days. As a result, it is outperforming several coins. And I must admit, as someone who has owned XRP for nearly 8 years, what has XRP most likely been? Since I've been holding it for the majority of that time, it's been about 30 cents, however it may be somewhat more. It's encouraging to see that XRP has continued to rise over the past year despite all that has happened, and the pullback. 41% within the previous 12 months. 401%. A year ago, we were informed that it was not feasible. It will never take place. XRP will continue to decline towards zero, particularly in relation to Bitcoin. Those forecasts grew old like vine milk. That's definitely the case. Naturally, the cryptocurrency market closely tracks stock market movements. Check out this article by Ryan Dietrich. He is the head of market strategy, and I'm a huge admirer of this individual. I've only been following him for the past 3 or 4 weeks, I think. More recently, however, he has been releasing highly fascinating factual material on a regular basis, usually pertaining to conventional battles. And the fact that cryptocurrency tracks the stock market is another reason why I find it fascinating. This correlation was quite real. He thus constantly emphasizing what typically occurs in specific situations. And this chart title is displayed here. The last average post-election year for the S&P 500 from 1950 to the present is the worst aspect of post-election years. Additionally, he claims that post-election years typically see a surge that begins at this time. Take a look at that. Here we are at this moment. Also visible is the blues 2025. The post-election years are indicated by the black line. Take a look at what typically occurs. History does rhyme with itself at this moment, and historically you do begin climbing. It's not as if anything is absolutely certain, but if you're going to take a chance, why not wager that people will continue to act in the same way under comparable conditions? If you take that path, you'll most likely be more right than wrong. My guess would be that. This is a post by Credible Crypto, a chart analyst. Additionally, this was taken less than 3 hours ago, It's 8:11 p.m. Central now, and it was 5:20 p.m. Central earlier. Thus, Bitcoin has been slightly declining. I mean, this is the Bitcoin 24-hour chart. As you can see, it had previously reached about $116,000. The current price is 120. Here are the opinions of reputable cryptocurrency regarding that, and you won't be surprised if you know him. Not that he's freaking out here. Following our first upward targets, the fair value gap, which is shown in blue on this screen, you are a Bitcoin that is simply ranging here on a shorter time scale. Overall, it says, appears healthy. We may yet drop down further, but I like to think we are positioning ourselves for a continuation to the highs. However, we have an unexplored daily demand zone that we would need to overcome in order to further decompose, even at range lows. He is discussing going into the $160,000 range, as any of you who are watching the TV can already see. On a longer time frame, even that wouldn't top the charts. This is not a cause for concern. Furthermore, he is correct that this is typical cryptocurrency behavior, even at bulwark. At least not in the long run, now is not the time to be pessimistic. Yes, even in bull marks, you will have pullbacks. As I mentioned a moment ago, this does not imply that you are about to enter a bear market. This is a post from Santiment, an on-chain analytics company. And right here is some wise counsel. Well, the average retail speculator will remain incorrect. Yes, exactly. Again and again and again. Here they noted that retail traders were expressing interest in dip buying at a high rate after Tuesday's slight market retracement. Historically, a slight short-term retrace and additional downside pressure follow high dip buy calls like this one. The best dips to buy are ideally those when the market is not expected to rebound. Retailers who believe their suffering is over are typically humbled to learn that more suffering is still to come. Upon losing their optimism, FOMO transforms into terror, which is enjoyable. The largest rallies occur during this time. So, where are we at this moment? Right now, Santiman's on-chain analogs are essentially stating that it would be good if more people were scared. That's a fairly obvious conclusion if you want to move in the right direction. As a result, it's an additional source of caution that can indicate that the market may decline slightly. This is from this evening as well. It is 5 p.m. now. That was only a few hours ago. That is the reason I keep saying that, aside from one analyst I follow very literally, I can't find any analyst who say that we are about to enter a bear market. In fact, many analysts, if not all of them, are saying that, hey, in the short term, we might see a bit more of a pullback. I am unable to locate it. The position is quite uncommon. Well, this is a post from Swissblock's on-chain analytics, and even though the sentiment is what it is, even though there have been setbacks, like today, what has been going on lately, Bitcoin has been bought by whales. Therefore, even if you're like me and don't give a damn about Bitcoin, you should know that it's the worst cryptocurrency ever made in terms of technology. Indeed, that is the least sophisticated fact. Since it's the first, it shouldn't be shocking. They have been purchasing whales despite the fact that that is the case. Therefore, you might not even own Bitcoin if you don't care about it. I do not provide financial advice. Nothing I say should cause you to buy or sell anything, right? That's a really awful concept.